Hi, you're watching Art Talk. I'm Jujhar Singh. This week we have the living legend of Indian art, Saeed Haider Raza. His art is about geometry, but it's also about spirituality. His most famous works are the Bindu works. In fact, we're seated next to one which is an ongoing work of his. Last year, one of his works sold at a world record price for Indian art at 16 crore rupees. Mr. Raza, a very warm welcome to Art Talk. It's absolutely wonderful to have you on the show. Now, you were born in 1922 in Madhya Pradesh. Your father was a government servant. He gave you a very good, solid grounding in Islam, but he also encouraged you to learn about other religions, particularly Hinduism. What did you learn at the time?
I'm grateful to my parents having given me the affection, love and sense of direction and confidence in me. It was very healthy. It was not something as many Muslim families on Islam. They were very free and open to other religions. My other teachers in the school were Brahmins mostly, and I used to go to the temple as much as I used to go to the mosque.
You know, Mr. Raza, I know you started drawing at the age of 12, and I believe it was to calm your inner restlessness. Why were you so restless at that age?
Well, I was a very poor student, you see. As a matter of fact, I disliked the school. And I remember very well one day at about 11 o'clock, I came back from the school and requested my mother not to let me go to the school. माँ, मैं शाला नहीं जाना चाहता, मुझे क्यों भेजती हो? मुझे शाला पसंद नहीं है. And my father talked to Nandaji Jharia, my teacher, who was requested to take care of me because I was not really good at schools. I only wanted to look at flowers, trees, mountains, everywhere, sometimes draw a little.
And I believe one of your teachers also tried to calm you down by giving you an exercise. Why don't you describe to us what that exercise was? He drew a circle or something like that.
One day after the classes, when students had left, he asked me to stay on. And he drew a bindu on the wall of the veranda of the school. And he said, do sit down here and look at this dot, this point. Don't think of anything else. You have to look at it and focus your mind on this. सब कुछ भूल जाओ, इसी की ओर देखो. अच्छा, मैं आता हूँ. And he went to the bathroom and had a wash or something and came back in 5-6 minutes time. And he said, yes, now you go. I did not call it Bindu, he didn't call it Bindu, but I know it was a point.
Yeah. He drew a circle and the aim of it was to calm you down, to bring more focus in your mind.
That's exactly what I mean.
But he didn't realize that he was creating art history because it started germinating inside your mind and came out several decades later. But Mr. Raza, we'll talk about that a little bit later on, but I want to just quickly fast forward through the next few years of your life because later you went to the Nagpur School of Art, then you went to the JJ School of Art in Mumbai. In 1947, you started the so-called Progressive Artist Group with F.N. Soos and other artists to give a new direction to Indian art after independence.
I must say the important event for me was that we had formed the Progressive Artist Group in 47, 48.
Yeah, that's right.
And we had an important exhibition of Progressive Artist Group, which is a synthesis of what we thought at that period, what I thought, what Sousa thought, what Hussain thought, of what could be contemporary Indian art today. Because you see, the error was that whole administration, curriculum of the school were based on what eyes can see. And that is not really the Indian way of looking at things.
Right.
India has a third eye.
Right.
It is a mixture of the eye, physical eye, the mind and the heart.
So that abstract element was missing at the time.
Abstract element and the...
From colonial Indian art.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And the fact that they considered that this visual reality was important, which has dominated the Renaissance in Europe, and they wanted to give us that information, well, with all good intentions, of course. But I must say that we did not think that that was the right thing.
But I want to ask you about your art because in the 1940s, you were drawing a lot of Indian landscapes and townscapes. I've seen some paintings of yours of Benares and Kashmir. And then we come to 1948, where you met the legendary French photographer Henri Cartier-Bresson in Kashmir. What happened?
In 47, July, August, I decided to go to Srinagar. There I met Somnath Bhatt and some other artists, and we had, after 2 or 3 months, an exhibition of our paintings in Srinagar. Now it so happened, Henri Cartier-Bresson, the French photographer, happened to be in India and in Srinagar exactly, and he came and saw this exhibition. And he asked the organizers, the teachers, who is this painter? So they said, Raza. So, is he here? Yes. So they called me, and I met Henri Cartier-Bresson. Of course, his name was slightly known to me, but I did not know how really very important he was. Now he revealed to me in this half an hour meeting something very important. So he said, look, Raza, I like your paintings, but they are rather fluid. They lack construction. So I said, what? I could not understand what was construction in painting. And I told him so. He said, look, a painting is like a house. It is built on a south base with walls and ground. Otherwise, it doesn't stand. You should know the construction in painting. So I said, let me tell you that I don't know what is construction in painting. He said, do you know Cézanne? Yes, I said, yes, I know his paintings, prints.
The French artist.
The French artist. He said, study that there, he's a master of construction.
When Henri Cartier-Bresson said to you that, well, you should study the paintings of Cézanne so that you can learn about construction, that pretty much made you move from India to Paris, isn't it, in 1950?
Well, it was really a suggestion that visiting France would help me in my work.
Right.
Because I had weaknesses in my work.
When you moved to Paris eventually in 1950, I've seen, from your works that while in the 1940s you were drawing a lot of Indian landscapes, in the 1950s you obviously started drawing a lot of European landscapes and cityscapes.
That's right. I came to nature with my precious perception and love. I loved nature, and I started painting nature in France, which is very beautiful.
Right. And of course, Mr. Raza, you were becoming very recognized in the 1950s in France, isn't it? 1956, you were the first non-French artist to get the Prix de la Critique.
Yes, because I feel that I had some talent. But I must say that even Cartier-Bresson said that, I like your paintings.
Mr. Raza, I want to now talk in the 1950s, something else was happening side by side. You were also getting very close to a fellow artist, Janine Mogila.
Yes, well, you see, when I went to get admission in École des Beaux-Arts in Paris, and immediately after me, there was a young, beautiful girl who was there waiting all the time so that my my case is over and she can present her case to be a student in the same studio at Montreuil where I was admitted, and she was also admitted. But you see, I avoided at that time.
You avoided her at the time?
I avoided her and beautiful women at that time.
Avoided her meaning? She was chasing you, you were avoiding her?
No, she was not chasing me. She was equally distant and I was also equally. But for 6 years, we were in the same studio.
But how did you eventually get close to her?
This was the story of 1950, and till 1956 we were distant, and then 56 and 57 we came very close and we started talking. And I liked her very much. Her ideas were also very good. And 58, I suggested that, well,
Let's do it.
As we say in Hindi in my village, Kajar ki kotri mein kaise hi suhan ho jaye, howsoever intelligent you may be, once you are trapped, you are trapped. Ek lee ke kajar ki lagi hai, so lagi hai, you can't do.
So Janine trapped you, but what did her parents think about you?
Well, parents knew about my work. They had seen my paintings at different exhibitions in Paris, and they were very happy. But they only said one thing, that Raza, we like you, and we are happy that you are proposing Simon to get married with you. But I have only one fear. I have only one daughter, and I fear you may take her back to India. Can you not stay here longer? And I said, yes, I will try to do my best. And that was the other reason, apart from my attention and attraction towards France, which made me stay longer.
And it became a permanent stay until now, of course.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. How did you and Janine view each other and support each other's artistic life?
Well, as a matter of fact, there was much in common, and she did excellent paintings, and she also liked my paintings. And I have a feeling that when we went to exhibitions, we more or less liked the same. It is very important that a wife has aesthetic taste, which is valid. And
so you were liking similar works?
We were liking similar work, and we were disliking all that is superficial, and not only in painting but in life. And so it was a grand get-together. We got married in 59, 60, and we were happy, very happy indeed. And
you had a wonderful marriage of 42 years.
And we had a wonderful, happy life for 42 years, which alas, in 2002, after a serious illness, she expired. And she was very much younger to me, almost 12, 13 years. But she expired, and I was very unhappy, so much so that I did not see anyone for about 4 or 5 years. And then since I'm a very great believer in God, I said, no, He has called her, He has given me more time, I should work, I should be happy, I should do my best to make use of the time that is given to me. And I started meeting friends and doing paintings.
But I suppose you still miss her tremendously.
Very much indeed. I have made her grave in Gorgio, and I have written her name and my name too. And you see, since time passed, since her death, let's say almost 9 years, and my attachment to India has been so great that I decided to come back home. I said, Jahan mein janma hu, I should end up my life in the same country.
So in fact, you've just returned to India after 60 years in France, and what you're saying is that the death of your wife was a major factor which made you sort of make that decision as well.
Absolutely, yes, that's right.
Mr. Raza, just going back to your art now, we've of course spoke about your European landscapes and cityscapes in the 1950s, and of course in the 60s and 70s they became even more abstract. Then in 1980, a life-changing thought struck you, and the Bindu came about. We'll talk about that, but let's take a break. We'll come back and continue talking about your life and art after that. Keep watching Art Talk.